Hey everybody, it's James here from the Sawyer Family Reviews channel, continuing the DC Collectibles animated reviews today by taking a look at the Batman the Animated Series version of Penguin. Let's check him out. Okay, we start things off with the package look first. So we're looking at figure number 15, the Penguin. So we've got the Penguin here, 15. This is a Batman the Animated Series release. So we've got the red-toned packaging with a Batman the Animated Series logo here and there. Figure inside, bunch of stuff behind him. Back of the package has a reverse of colors, so we've got red Batman on the black background. And I'm going to take a quick moment and just talk about this. I love that they include those poster inserts. The poster inserts, they're very cool. But what if this would have been on here? What about that? What about if this was printed on there? Would this make you happy? This would make me happy. I would have loved to have seen this. I know it's cost-cutting to use the same card back on all these, because you just print all the card backs and you just change things on the bubble. You could have got, like, 8 card backs out of this. Come on. Do this. Or give me some character bio. Put a sticker on there. Alright, enough complaining. Let's get him out of there. Okay, we got Penguin out of the box. First things first. Display stand, which this one is the most pointless one maybe ever. Let's talk about the pointlessness first. So we've got your little prong thingy here. It's got an indent on it, so you got to make sure you line that up. And you put this guy on here. And then you have this. And it can open up about that much. So there's no point, because he's so round that there's no way this thing's going to fit around it anyway. So, yeah. The turnarounds are cool. We've said that before. I can't get the stand out now. There we go. So here is the turnarounds, and then here are the turnarounds from the style guide. Move for a second, Penguin. So in this case, they can only fit 2 of them, and actually, they are different. This is a different drawing than what's on here. It's very different. Stance is different. Turnaround's different. Yeah, so this is completely different. They must not have used those layouts that they used for that stand in the actual style guide. Accessories. Oh, duh. Here's something I forgot to do. We forgot to take a look at the little poster insert. Half Batman Animated and half New Batman Adventures. We've got the 3 figures up top there. Penguin is from the episode The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne, which was unexpected that this Penguin would be based on that episode, since it's not really a Penguin episode, it's a Hugo Strange episode. So the fact that they chose that episode for him is kind of weird. Like, you could do, like, Birds of a Feather, I Got Batman in My Basement. Yeah, I don't understand why he's from that episode. But he is from that episode, and he does have some accessories that are specific to that episode, at least. So we've got a set of open hands down below, which show his finned fingers. And then we've got a set of gripping hands. Now, these are 2 different grips, though. The right hand is a little bit looser, and the left hand is a little bit tighter. And that's because of the accessories here. So the smaller accessory he comes with is a teacup and spoon that he uses on the plane in the episode. So you've got a painted teacup and a spoon. Now, the teacup will fit in the tighter right hand, because the figure comes with 2 fisted hands in the packaging, but the left fist hand has a small little opening. You see that there? A little tiny opening that you can fit the end of the spoon in. So you put that hand on with the spoon, and you put the other hand with the cup. While the other hand is meant to hold, I'm just going to hold a spoon for a second, his other accessory, which is his umbrella. So we've got one that's all contained. It's got black painted stripes, a silver pointy tip, and then a black handle. That's well done. And then we've got a 2-part extended umbrella with tiny little sharp pieces, which be careful on these guys. You might break them off if you're not careful. And then the black framework underneath, and you just take this guy and plug it into there. And like I said, that left hand is more meant for gripping the umbrella handles because it's a bit more open. I think you could probably wedge it into the tighter teacup hand, but it fits just fine on the other hand, so whichever you want to do. Okay, let's get that spoon out of your hand. Let's talk about his height, and then we're going to talk about some design things from this figure that maybe make him feel a little bit off-model to me. So, height. At the top of his hat, he's right at 5 inches. If you were to just to count the top of his head under there, though, It's more like 4.5. So he's the right size for Penguin. You also see I don't have him on a stand at all because there's no way I can get a doll stand around this body. But he's having no trouble standing, and that's because of the design of that character. The roundness and the short stubby legs make it so he's not really going anywhere. There he is next to Batman, so he's the right height for Penguin. Looking good. First of all, the Penguin design from Batman the Animated Series, I love. I love this because anybody that has been watching this channel knows, big fan of the Burton Batman films. So him being directly inspired by the Keaton movies and the Danny DeVito version of Penguin is a thrill for me. I love that version of Penguin. I much prefer this to the New Batman Adventures, where he went back to the short little dapper fellow. I like this more monstrous take on Penguin. It's just a cooler looking character overall to me. So I like the fact that he's based on that design, and the fact that we never got a true release until years later from Mattel of a DeVito Penguin figure. This was pretty cool that I had at least the Batman the Animated Series version from Kenner that could stand in as him. Now, for this design, though, there's something a little tiny bit off for the figure when I look at it, that it looks off on Penguin for me. And I think it's because the top hat's always on. I'm so used to Penguin not having the top hat in the show that I would have preferred if they would have made this removable. Or maybe two head sculpts that you can switch out, one with a hat and one without. Because I think he would remind me more of the show without the top hat on. It's not a bad sculpt by any means. It looks really good. I think the other thing, too, is that his head maybe sits a little bit high. It feels like maybe it should be sunken in more, like in this turnaround. Like it feels like the shoulders and the top of the head should sort of be an egg shape where they kind of flow into each other. And it sits maybe a little bit higher on the neck than I would prefer. Again, it's not a bad figure and not a bad design. It's just little things that keep it from jumping out at me like the other figures do as being, wow, that's directly what I remember and what I think of. The other thing, too, is maybe the monocle. As you can see, he's got that monocle on there. And that would have been just like a line on the show with a dot in it. So it would have been, as you can see there, it's just like white with a dot in the center. And in this case, it's clear, so you see the eye beneath it. I'm curious if maybe this was painted white with a dot, if I would think it'd be a little more on model. Like right now, it's catching the glare from my camera, and it feels more on model already. If I can imagine a little black dot in that eye, the way it looks white right now, I think I'm going to like that better too. Instead of doing a clear piece, actually doing a painted piece. But again, these are things that you don't really, I mean, you have to make judgment calls on because you're taking a 2D interpretation and creating something that's three-dimensional out of it. So things that work in animation and in a drawing may not work as well on a figure. And Penguin is a tough design, I would say, to translate from that design into a figure. This is pretty darn good, though. Let's talk about articulation real quick here. There's not a ton, so he's got a little bit of ankle movement. It just kind of wiggles, though. There's not really much else to it. I don't even know why they even did it. It just kind of wiggles back and forth. That's about it. And then he's got hips that'll pivot up to about there, and then they'll go right there. So not much leg movement at all, which is fine. He's not a super jumping around articulated guy, so I don't think it needs to be overdone with articulation. I'd rather he be able to stand and not have all those joints. He's got a rubbery coat, so if there were to have been more articulation, it wouldn't really have interfered with that, not that much, but there isn't, so what can you do? Shoulders hinge out to about there. They're nice and tight, and then they rotate all the way around. He's got a jointed elbow, and that's actually really well hidden. Like if you sat it like this, you can barely even see the joint, but it does hinge to about there, and back to about there, and then rotates at that spot. Then we've got wrists that rotate where they plug in, and then they hinge in and out. And then we've got a little tiny bit of movement on the neck, not much at all. It's because the hair is restrictive, the body's restrictive, so you're not going to get a ton of posing out of this guy, unfortunately. But again, it's Penguin. Do you need a ton of posing? Probably not. He's just pretty much going to sit there and look strangely menacing. Okay, overall, I really, really like this guy, although he is probably, so far, maybe the weakest when it comes to capturing the look of the animation, but also probably one of the most difficult to capture the look of the animation. It's also the only Penguin we got in this line. They never did the New Batman Adventures version. They only did this version. So if you want a Penguin, this is your only shot at him. Now, he's expensive like the Riddler I just talked about recently. He's like an $80 or $90 figure and package, and I'm sure he's going to keep going up because Penguin is a main villain. So if you want one, now's the time to grab one. All right, I'm signing off on this one. Next up is Batgirl from Torch Song. And keep watching. If you enjoy the videos, like, subscribe, notify. Talk to you guys next. Oh, wait, I forgot to talk about, I guess I kind of talked about the paint. Paint works really nice on him. I like the coloring. I can almost imagine him without the coat on, like the old Kenner figure. It would have been nice to have another release of this, actually. One without the coat and without the hat on, where he had the gray, or the like tan vest and the grayish green shirt. That would have been pretty cool. And it would only take new tooling of the arms and maybe a newly tooled head. It's fun to imagine what would have happened with this line had it kept on going. Like what sculpts would have been reused and repainted, like they were going with the Adventures Continue, and who would have seen a reissue, you know? They could have done like Gotham Rogues packs again, like 2 packs where they slightly alter things. And I think Penguin would have been a prime candidate to get another go around. Okay, now that really is it this time. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.